Hey, and welcome to today's video. Today, I wanted to share something that's a little bit more serious, so grab your favorite drink and let's talk about why we do not share our children online and what actually got us to this point. Let's back it up and start at the beginning. So when our first son was born, I basically just shared a bunch of his newborn pictures, and it was all on private pages. So I had a private Instagram and a private Facebook personal page. And I just shared some pictures here and there, and I didn't really think anything of it. And that happened for a couple of years, and then our second child was born, which is our daughter. So our second child was born, and I started to build a business on the side. So from that moment on, I really started to share more on Instagram, and I started to put my account on public. So everybody was able to see all my pictures. And at the time, I didn't really think about it, actually. I just did it because I wanted to build my business, I wanted to grow my influence, and I wanted to build an audience that was gonna buy my stuff, right? So that is basically what I did. I started sharing more of our life because people like to know what other people are doing. So that is what I started to share. Started to share some behind the scenes. I did Instagram stories almost every single day and just shared random stuff online. And yeah, I really did that just to grow my business. But I did that for a couple of years, and then our third child was born, and I started posting his newborn pictures. And after that, I started to actually think about having my children online and what that actually was gonna mean for them, because up until that point they were pretty young. Our oldest was about 5 years old when I really started to think about it, and I thought, wait a minute, he is turning 5 or 6, I don't even remember completely, but around 5 or 6 years old, and I thought he's getting older, so people are starting to recognize him, and he's actually getting more of his forever face, right? So it wasn't those chubby, cute newborn pictures anymore. It was actually a real person. And because they are getting older, their face is starting to look like they will look when they are young, when they are older. So I really started to think about, okay, do I actually really want them on the internet and want them, all their pictures out in the open? So I decided to talk about it with my husband and say, hey, what do you think about this? How do you feel about this? And yeah, what should I do? Should I keep sharing? Should I not? What are we gonna do, right? So we talked about it, and we actually got to the point where I started to quit my business. And I thought, you know what, let's just ditch social media altogether. So I hadn't shared for about a year, I think, on my socials. So it wasn't really an issue because I didn't share anyway, so I didn't have to think about my children. But then when I started this YouTube channel, I thought, okay, well, now it actually is an issue. So what are we gonna do, honey? Do we share our children or not? And we actually got to the point where we said, you know what? I don't think we should. So from the moment I started this YouTube channel, I actually did not show my children ever on this channel, not with their faces at least. I only showed the back of their heads, you know, things like that. And on my Instagram, it has been way over a year because, like I said, I hadn't shared for a year. So it has been a long time since I shared our children, and I am not planning on ever sharing them online again. And I wanted to share with you why, because there's a couple of reasons for it. Now, the first reason is I do not want them to perform or behave in a certain way just because I need the footage, because I need a photo or I need a video. I just want them to be themselves, and I want our life to be normal and not necessarily staged. Because if I wanted to share a day in the life, for example, of course I want to make it as realistic as possible, but I still in some way need them to act a certain way, because if I want to share a day in the life of us homeschooling, we have to do our schoolwork and we have to do all the things. And I cannot really say, hey, we don't feel good, let's just not do school today, because I needed to film that video. So we have to perform, we have to do our schoolwork, and they need to, even though they might have an off day, they need to perform as well. So that is one thing that I really didn't like. And also for pictures for Instagram, I remember when I wanted to take a picture, I said, okay, let's smile for the picture. And they didn't want to smile. I said, hey, come on, I really need that picture. Come on, 5 seconds, guys. And I started to get agitated towards them. And I really don't want to feel that way. And I don't want to act that way, because I just want them to be kids. And if I want to take a picture, fine. But that is going to be for us. and not staged because mommy needs a picture for Instagram. And that really did not feel good for me. And especially when they got older, because a 5-year-old, well, actually a 2-year-old doesn't really want to sit down either. But a 5-year-old has so many other things to do than just sitting down and having a picture taken. And when they were newborns, it was a lot easier. I mean, they just lie there and they're cute in their chubbiness. But yeah, I really didn't like that feeling of having them perform just because I needed the footage, you know? So that is one of the reasons why I thought this doesn't really feel good. But then when I talked to my husband, I actually talked about number 2, which is, this is something that I have chosen to do. It is something that I want to do because I want to build a business online. I want to build an influence. I want to start a YouTube channel. I want to share my knowledge, you know, things like that. But they did not choose this path. They are just children, and they should remain children, and they shouldn't be bothered too much with what I need to do for my business, because they are not working in my business. That's me. It's my business, right? So that is one of the things that really was a turning point for me and my husband to say, okay, this is something that I'm doing, so I do not want to drag anyone else into my business just because I need to build a business. So that is why you also hardly ever see my husband, because this is not a path he has chosen. He doesn't like to be on camera. So I'm not going to force him to be in my videos, just like I'm not going to force my children to be in my videos, because again, they did not choose this path. They are just going to be children, and they need to play and have fun and do things for themselves. And I will worry about my business and the footage that I get. So that is one of our main reasons why we decided to do this. And then lastly, which is actually why I said this is a serious topic, because it can actually be pretty scary when you share your children online. Because first off, there's a lot of nasty people on the internet, and your pictures can be taken off of the internet. They can be downloaded off of the internet. And there's a whole bunch of weirdos that can use your child's picture to do disgusting things. I mean, it is, I don't even want to think about it, that somebody would use my child to do things, you know? So that's one of the things that's really kind of scary to me, because I really don't want my children ever to be in that situation. So I don't want to share my children online so that they cannot be used for gross things like that. But also, what I actually read when I started to research putting your child's pictures online is that with this AI thing and all this new artificial intelligence, and that they can generate so many crazy things, they can actually use your child's picture and create all kinds of weird stuff. There's a lot of identity theft. They can literally use that picture and with AI create something that doesn't even exist, but that might get linked to your child or might get linked to you or whatever that is. So that is something that really freaks me out. I am not a huge fan of AI anyways, because it can be used in a beautiful way, okay? There are ways where it can be very nice to have it, and it can save some people a lot of time maybe. But there are, from those 2 good things that it can do, there are like hundreds of things that AI can do that I do not love. I mean, it can write entire songs, it can create social media posts, it can even create videos. And even though that might sound amazing, that takes all the authenticity away from all the people that are actually sharing online, from the real content creators, instead of those that just throw a bunch of things into an AI tool that produces a bunch of social media posts, for example, and they grow, but they didn't really do anything. Opposed to those that actually put in a lot of work and really want to grow organically and want to be authentic. I really just don't like that. Same with blog posts. I am in a bloggers group because I have my blog as well. And there are so many people that they don't even write their blog posts anymore. They just throw a bunch of keywords into a machine, and that machine will write the blog post for them. And they just throw it on their website and say, I wrote this. And that is just something that I really don't like, because it's not honest. I really don't love people that are being dishonest, and this is just not honest. You didn't make it, you didn't create it, so I don't like it. But anyway, that is a little bit of a sidetrack, but what they can do with a picture is actually really crazy. And that is one of the reasons why I really don't want my child's face on the internet in a bunch of different scenarios, even where they can really create almost like they can create 3D images even. I don't even know how all this works. I'm not that technical, but apparently when they have your child from all different angles, they can actually create a 3D person that looks real, that they can project somewhere, and it actually looks like your real child. Now, is that scary or is that scary? I don't know about you, but I really don't like it. Anyway, that is one of the main reasons for me to say, okay, this is actually really freaky. And one of the reasons why I decided to discuss it with my husband. And we both agree that it is way better to not show our children online. And if they ever, when they grow older, if they ever want to do something online and create an online business, it is their choice and they can do what they want, basically. But right now it is our choice, and they are young, they are under our supervision. So we decide not to show our children online. And one of the last things that I actually wanted to mention as well is we teach our children to not use screens a whole lot. We try to limit our screen time as much as possible. And if you haven't seen that video, I have a bunch of videos. I will put the playlist up here about us being a screen-free family. So I will put that playlist up here, but we actually teach our children to not use screens and to entertain themselves in many different ways other than using a screen. It feels really weird to me to say, hey, I don't want you to use screens, but I do have to film you, and I am gonna put you on a screen so that everybody else can watch the screen with you on it, but you're not gonna watch it yourself. That really sounds odd to me, because I am producing content about a person that is not allowed to watch the content. You know what I mean? So that is just something that I really don't want them to be involved in even. I don't want them to use a screen. I don't want them to watch TV. I don't want them to be on social media. So why would I actually put them on social media with their face? So that is one of the other reasons that really stood out to us and said, you know what? We really need to quit showing our children online. They are growing older and we never know what happens. My following might become really large and I don't want people to recognize our children on the street or online or whatever. I don't want them, basically, I just don't want them to be involved in any way in my business, because it is not about them. It is about me sharing people about homemaking and motherhood and all those things. It is about what God wants to say through me to other women. And it's not about showing my children and making money off of their performance or them just being in the picture, if that makes sense. Anyway, this is a long ramble, and that is why I said grab a cup of coffee or tea. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm really curious if you show your children online and what your reasons are for showing or not showing your children online. So let me know in the comments down below, because I really love the aspect of YouTube where it is just a big community and where we can talk in our comment section, and it's just something that really brings me a lot of joy. So let me know down below what you think about this, and I really hope to see you in my next video. And one of the fun things that I'm going to share next month is actually about your role as a biblical wife. And what does submission mean? What does it mean to be your husband's helper and to be the keeper of the home and all those things? So those are going to be some really good videos. So if you want to see those, subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you then.